Hi everybody, welcome back. Brad from bradnewton.tv. Let's talk about training frequency. A question that usually pops up from absolute beginners is how often should you train your any particular muscle group on a week-to-week basis? So it's like you want to work your legs, but it's like, should I train my legs once every week, 3 times a week, 5 times a week, 7 times a week? Should I train like what's the best training frequency to build muscle? The truth is, based on the science, and I'll link all this on your screen, and in the next video you'll have access to the research. There's very compelling research out there which says that training frequency is really not the focus. Training volume, so how many reps and sets that you do in a particular workout, it's training volume that influences muscle growth over the long term, not how many times a week you train a particular muscle group. And so if you're, for example, training chest and you're having like a chest day, then the greater the volume, so the greater number of reps and sets that you do for your chest, the lower the frequency that you can do for your chest for that week, which makes sense, right? So the more volume, the lower the frequency of the training for that particular muscle group. So then the question then is, because it's not about training frequency and it's about training volume, then what's the optimal training volume to build muscle for someone who's just starting, an absolute beginner? And I want to annotate this by saying that is not on steroids, because if you're a natural athlete or if you're someone who doesn't take anabolic steroids, the game changes. Compared to someone who's on anabolic steroids, the training volume is going to change. So that's why I wanted to do this video, because I'm a natural athlete, and so it's important that you train like a natural athlete and not use a program that's been given to you by someone who's on steroids, because that's a program that's worked for them, because their body can synthesize much more muscle protein, and their recovery times are reduced and all the other factors, and it doesn't apply to you. So that's why it's important to get your training volume right for someone who's not on steroids. So based on the research that I've looked at with natural athletes, the optimal training volume is going to vary, and I'm going to talk about the variables in a second, and you're on your screen, between 30 to 60 repetitions per muscle group per workout. And that's training at 2 to 3 times per week for that particular muscle group. Yeah. So what they're saying is that for your chest, for example, if you want to work your chest muscles, yeah, your pecs, what they're saying is that the optimal training volume to build your chest is going to be somewhere between 30 to 60 repetitions every workout for your chest. And so that breaks down into doing a number of exercises that's going to engage your, for example, bench press. So what you might do is you might go and do the bench press, and you might do, for example, 4 sets at, remember, it's bringing those reps down, because we talked about the science of bringing your reps down to build strength and build muscle. And so, for example, if you're doing 6, 7 repetitions and you're doing 4 sets at 6 to 7 repetitions each, that's about 25 excuse me, 25 to 30 reps for that particular exercise. And then you've got incline bench press, for example, and you might do 3 sets at, I don't know, 6 repetitions, right? So that's 18 repetitions in total for that exercise. And then you might finish it off by doing cable flies, right? Remember, I didn't put cable flies as number 1. I put cable flies at the very end. Or you can do dips, right? Or you can do some other exercise for your chest that's going to make up the repetitions to get you into the optimal volume, yeah, to build muscle. So that's why for years I've been structuring my training like this, where I'll do 3 or 4 exercises per muscle group, and I'll do about I'll aim for, I'll put enough weight on the bar to get me about 6 or 7 repetitions And then when I hit like 7 repetitions, I'll add a little bit of extra weight to the bar, and that will bring my reps down to like 5 or 4, 5, 6 or something like that. And then I'll do 3 or 4, or I'll do 3 or 4 sets for that particular exercise. And that will give me a certain amount of volume for that exercise. And then I do another exercise, which might target another part of my chest. Does that make sense? And then I'll do, 5, 6, 7 repetitions. I'll do 3 sets for that exercise. That will give me a certain amount of volume. So the volume from exercise 1 plus the volume from exercise 2 plus the volume from exercise 3 is going to get me into my optimal training volume range on your screen. So the reason why it's like 30 to 60 reps, like the reason why there's such a huge variation is because there are a number of factors that influence volume. For example, if you're doing squats, like one of the hardest exercises you can do in the gym is the barbell squat, right? Which is why a lot of guys skip legs, because quite frankly, it's hard. It's like the hardest compared to doing bench press. So the intensity, now this is what in the study, one of the variables that influences training volume is the intensity. And so an exercise that requires more intensity means that your volume is going to reduce. That makes complete sense. So the harder you work on a particular exercise, the less of that exercise you're able to do. Makes perfect sense. So that's one reason why training volume is between 30 to 60 reps. So it depends on how hard you exert yourself in the gym. And there are other factors like genetics and whether you had a good night's rest and dietary factors. For example, if you're in a calorie deficit, your training volume is going to be reduced compared to someone who's in a calorie surplus, and bulking, your training volume is going to be increased, right? So that makes complete sense. Now, I hope this makes sense to you. If it doesn't, please send me a message, brad@bradnewton.tv. But the key takeaway here from this video is that don't be focused on how many times a week you should be training a particular muscle group. For you, as a natural, not taking steroids person, should be focused on training volume, and your volume is going to be between 30 to 60 reps, right? Based in the science. That's it. So training volume is what we're trying to achieve. And that is it. So otherwise, yeah, send me a message if you have any questions. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in another video.